What if Star Trek wasn't just science fiction, but a survival guide, a hidden blueprint, teaching us how to hold on to hope when the world keeps trying to break us apart? Hey gang, welcome back. If you've ever felt like the future is slipping further away, you're not alone. I used to feel that way until I realized I've been carrying a map forward since I was a kid. I grew up on live airings and reruns of Star Trek The Next Generation every weekday, 2-hour blocks after school. At the time, it was just my favorite escape, but today I know it was something else entirely, a blueprint for tomorrow. Star Trek didn't just entertain me, it shaped me. The Federation wasn't perfect, it was political, flawed, and messy. But it was aspirational. It dared to imagine a human race that chose curiosity over fear, diplomacy over war, unity over division. And without realizing it, that vision seeped into me. As a kid, I didn't see it as philosophy. I just thought it was cool that there was a future where people from every corner of Earth and even other worlds worked side by side. But somewhere along the way, I realized that was the lesson. It wasn't fantasy, it was a challenge. It was showing me that diversity isn't a burden. It's the very thing that makes survival possible. Even now, when I face difficult decisions, one question always arises in my mind. What would Jean-Luc Picard do? It's not about starship tactics, it's about leading with integrity, about how to treat people, even on how to vote when the world feels divided. And honestly, more often than not, that question steers me in the right direction. But it wasn't only Picard. Spock taught me that logic and compassion aren't opposites, they're partners. Janeway showed me resilience, how to guide people through the impossible while still making them feel valued. And Sisko reminded me that responsibility isn't something you can run from, even when it's heavy, especially when it's heavy. Looking back now, I realize these weren't just characters on the screen, you guys. They were mentors, moral compasses, quiet voices guiding me long after the credits rolled. And when the real world started feeling darker, those voices reminded me that optimism isn't naive, it's necessary. Because the truth is, Star Trek planted a stubborn optimism in me. Even as the world frays division, fear, cynicism everywhere, Star Trek made me believe tomorrow can still be brighter. That belief has carried me through some of my lowest moments. One of the most important lessons I ever took from Star Trek came from the Next Generation episode Peak Performance. Data is shaken after losing a strategic game to the Zocdorn master Kolran. He feels broken, like he's failed in his very nature as an android. That's when Picard steps in. Picard tells him it is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. I remember the first time I heard that line. I was a teenager, sitting there after school, eating snacks, thinking this was just another space adventure. But those words, they stopped me. They made me realize that failure isn't proof that you're broken. It's proof that you're alive. Later, when I went through my own failures, times when I've tried my hardest and still come up short, and those times still happen a lot, that scene comes back to me. Picard's voice echoed in my head, reminding me losing isn't the same thing as being lost. And that lesson has carried me through more moments than I can count. So what Star Trek moment taught you something that stayed with you in real life? I'd love to hear your story. So the reason I still carry this blueprint with me, you guys, and the reason I love the Orville is because of that utopian itch Star Trek gave me. That hunger for a tomorrow where humanity doesn't collapse under its flaws, but rises in spite of them. Star Trek created that longing. It taught me to see myself as just a speck on a speck, drifting in an endless cosmos, and yet still mattering. Every choice, every connection, every small act of kindness becomes part of a larger story. And when the Orville came along, it reminded me that that torch is still burning, that the legacy of Star Trek didn't end, it evolved. Different crews, different captains, but the same hope. the same blueprint. That's the real message. The story of hope doesn't belong to one show or even one generation. It belongs to us. We get to keep writing it. We get to keep carrying it forward together. And you can help Egotastic FunTime keep finding the light in the darkness by joining the channel. And remember, I hope all your times are Egotastic Fun Times. Love you. Bye-bye.
Egotastic fun time. We're gonna have a great time. Egotastic fun time. Give me all